Hello everyone. So today we are going to take up the design of a PID compensator or a PID controller and its approximate equivalent, what is called a lag lead compensator. So we know that a PI compensator or its equivalent lag compensator can improve the steady state error performance, whereas a PD compensator or a lead compensator will improve the transient response specifications. Okay, so when we want to improve both the transient part and the steady state error part, then we have to go for a PI plus PD, which is nothing but a PID controller, or a lag plus lead compensator or a lag lead controller. Okay, so this is the idea. When we want to improve both the transient performance and the steady state performance, we have to go for a PID controller or its equivalent, what is called a lag lead compensator. So we will today discuss the design of these two compensators using Rootlocus. Let's start. So as you can see here, it is used to improve both the steady state error and the transient response. Okay, so the general transformation is K into S plus Z lag into S plus Z lead by S. Okay, because we know for a proportional integral controller we have Kp plus Ki by S. And for a PD controller, we have Kp plus Kds. Okay, so this will be some constant K into S plus Z divided by S. Okay, for a PI compensator. And here you will have K into S plus Z kind of thing. Right? So basically, there are three terms. One is a proportional part, the block diagram form. Okay, so this is the output. Suppose the input to the control is error. Okay, this is the error signal, right? Then you have Ki by S, integral term, and you have the derivative part, Kd into S. All are summed up. Okay, so at the output you will get a signal which will be proportional to the you will get an output like this, U of S. Okay, so let this be E of S. E of S. So what will be U of S? U of S will be Kp into E of S plus integral part of that Ki by S into E of S plus Kds into E of S. Okay, so when you solve this thing, you will get a transformation of this form, some K into S plus Z lag. This comes from the derivative control, PD control. Okay, K into S plus Z lag, and this part corresponds to the integral controller, K into S plus Z by S. Okay, so as said before, what are the advantage? Advantage is that error will be driven, steady state error will be driven to zero, but you need active circuits for implementation. Okay, which will complicate the matters, right? So error is driven to zero. It improves the steady state error. Then it can improve the transient response because you are adding a derivative part. Fine. And what else? Active circuits are required to implement. That means you will have to have op-amps and additional power circuitries. Okay, and further it can cause some noise and saturation issues. So these issues are present in the case of a PID compensator. Or equivalently, we have what is called a lag lead compensator. We know that a lag compensator is an approximation to a PI compensator, and a lead compensator is an approximation to the PD compensator. Right? So there also to improve the steady state error, but error is not driven to zero. That's the difference, right? The advantage is that it can be implemented using passive elements like resistors, capacitors, etc. So this will be the general transfer function for the PI for the lag lead compensator. So we will take up the design of these two, okay, with the help of Rootlocus. So let's first try the design of a PID compensator. Fine. Design a PID controller. Design a PID controller or a PID compensator. I told you controller and compensator are technically the same. Okay, technically both are one and the same. They are used to improve the performance or to compensate for the deficiency in performance. Both are technically one and the same. Compensator and controller. Design a PID controller. Design a PID controller so that the system can operate so that the system, which system? The closed loop system. That's the meaning. Okay. Keep in mind, open loop plant is given to us. That is fixed. You cannot do anything with the open loop plant. Okay. So suitable controller has to be designed along with the plant and put in the closed loop configuration. Okay. So that closed loop system, that is what we mean by the system. Okay. You should keep that in mind. So that the system can operate with a peak time, with a peak time that is 2/3. That is 2/3. That of uncompensated system. That of uncompensated system. That of uncompensated system. At 20% overshoot, at 20% overshoot, and with 0 steady state error, and with 0 steady state error, for a step input. Okay, so this is the system given to us. R of s, E of s. Okay, so k into s plus 8 divided by s plus 3 into s plus 6 into s plus 10. Okay, so we have to design a PID controller so that this system can operate with a peak time that is 2/3 that of the uncompensated system at 20% overshoot and with 0 steady state error for a step input. Okay, so what we have to do? What's the out of the closed loop system? What is the closed loop system? G, this divided by 1 plus this block into 1. G divided by 1 plus GH. Okay, that is the closed loop transfer function. C by R. C of s by R of s is G of s divided by 1 plus GSHS. What is G of s? That's the plant given. K into s plus 8 divided by blah blah blah. Okay, and what is H of s here? It is a unity feedback path. So gain is 1. Okay, H of s is 1 here. Okay, so the closed loop system will be of the order 3. It is a third order system, right? But peak time, then overshoot, etc., can be specified only for a standard type 0 underdamped second order system. So that means we have to identify the dominant poles of this closed loop system. Okay, what are dominant poles? Dominant poles are those which are closer to the j omega axis. Okay, and that will, those poles will determine the overall response of the system. Okay, dominant poles are those poles which are closer to the j omega axis. Okay, so when we try to find out the dominant pole, assumption is that higher order poles are far away from the j omega axis. Okay, so how good our approximation is valid will determine the accuracy of our design solution. Okay, so we will try to find out where are the dominant poles. Okay, so let us start with the root locus for this plant. So this is S plane sigma j omega. Whenever you draw the root locus, keep in mind to mark the x-axis and the y-axis quantities. Okay, simply drawing two perpendicular lines doesn't have any meaning. Okay, unless you define the quantities on the axis. Okay, so this is the S plane sigma j omega axis. Where are the poles? Poles are at -3, -6, -10, and we have a 0 at -8. Okay, so how will be the root locus for this case? This is not a root locus. This will be a root locus. One starts from here, one starts from here. So there's a breakaway point. Okay, and here this will also be another root locus. It starts from here, ends at this point, right? So it's obvious. It is something like this. Okay, one starts from here, one starts from here. So where are our dominant poles? Dominant poles are closer to the j omega axis. That means somewhere here. Okay, so there will be a complex conjugate dominant pole on the other half also. Okay, dominant pole pair. That's what we say. Okay, it will be symmetrical. Fine. Now, since this dominant closed loop pole is on the root locus, what's the condition? The net angle at this point must be plus or minus 180. Okay, so you join this particular dominant pole with all other poles and zeros. Okay, theta 1, theta 2, theta 3, theta 4. Okay, now we have to calculate what are these angles, right? Sum of these angles must be equal to plus or minus 180. Why? Because this dominant closed pole is on the root locus, and from the angle condition, any point is on root locus only if the net angle is 180 degree, plus or minus 180 degree. Okay, odd multiple of plus minus 180 degree. So what will be theta 1 here? Theta 1 will be what? Tan inverse. So we have to find the dominant pole, right? So something else is given here. What is that? That is with the 2/3 of that of uncommon system at 20% overshoot. Okay, so some condition is given here, 20% overshoot. So percentage overshoot is 20%. Means what? E raised to minus pi zeta divided by root of 1 minus zeta square is 0.2. Or from here you can find your zeta. Your damping ratio zeta will be 0.4556. Okay, so zeta is 0.4556. And what are the dominant pole pairs? How will you find that? Dominant pole pairs are minus zeta omega n plus minus j omega n into root of 1 minus zeta square. Just substitute zeta value there. You will get minus 0.4556 plus minus j omega n. Okay, j 0.8901 omega n. Okay, so I know my x coordinate is minus 0.4556 omega n, and the imaginary part is j 0.8901 omega n. Okay, so what will be the coordinate of this thing? It is the complex conjugate. Okay, it will be minus j 0.8901 omega n. Okay, now we have to calculate what is the angle theta 1. Okay, so what will be theta 1? Theta 1 will be tan inverse opposite side. Opposite side is 0.8901 minus. Why minus? Because this is a pole angle. Okay, pole angles will always be negative, and zero angles will be always a leading angle, positive angle. Okay, so since 3 is there's a pole at minus 3, the theta 1 has to be negative. So minus tan inverse opposite side. What is that? 0.8901 omega n divided by adjacent side. Adjacent side means this distance. Okay, 3 minus 0.4556 omega n. That is theta 1. Then what is theta 2? Again minus tan inverse. What? 0.8901 omega n divided by 6 minus 0.4556 omega n. Okay, what is theta 3? Theta 3 is the angle from the 0 at minus 8. So since it is 0, angle is positive. So plus tan inverse. Tan inverse. What? Tan inverse what? Opposite side. 0.8901 omega n divided by 8 minus 0.4556 omega n. And what is theta 4? Theta 4 corresponds to the angle from a pole at minus 10. Okay, so minus tan inverse. What? 0.8901 omega n divided by 10 minus 0.4556 omega n. Okay, now what's the condition? Condition is that the net angle has to be equal to plus or minus 180. Theta 1 plus theta 2 plus theta 3 plus theta 4 must be equal to plus or minus 180 degree. Okay, so you have to add all these things. That means what? Minus tan inverse 0.8901 omega n divided by 3 minus 0.4556 omega n minus tan inverse 0.8901 omega n divided by 6 minus 0.4556 omega n plus tan inverse 0.8901 omega n whole divided by 8 minus 0.4556 omega n minus tan inverse 0.8901 omega n divided by 10 minus 0.4556 omega n. This must be equal to plus or minus 180 degree. Okay, so how will you solve this? Tan A plus B plus C plus D. Okay, you can do that. I have tried, I did it by hand. Okay, so you can also do it definitely by hand. No worries. So if you solve this, you will get your omega n, which was the unknown value, as 11.886 radians per second. Okay, what you will do here? First, you take tan of these two parts. Okay, so one term you can take it to the right hand side of the equality sign. Okay, so it will be tan of A plus B plus C here on the left hand side. On the right side, you have 180 plus tan term. Okay, so first you take, suppose this is A. Suppose this is A, B, C. I will take D to this part to the RHS. Okay, so first you do tan of A plus B. We know what is tan of A plus B. Tan A plus tan B by 1 minus tan A tan B. Okay, now that quantity written here, something plus C. So tan of the first quantity plus tan of C divided by 1 minus this blah 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 into tan C. Okay, you can solve it in that way. If you do that, you will get your omega n as 11.886 radians per second. Now you can substitute your values here. Our dominant poles were unknown to us. Okay, so dominant poles. What will be there? Because zeta value we know it is 0.4556. Okay, so minus 0.4556. We just write the expression minus zeta omega n plus minus j omega n into root of 1 minus zeta square. Zeta value we know 0.4556. Okay, so just omega n value we have found. So just substitute that and you will get your dominant poles as minus 5.4164 plus minus j 10.582. Okay, 10.582. Right. So we have identified the equivalent second order configuration of the given third order closed loop system. Right. Now what next? We have to calculate what is the unknown gain K. K is unknown to us. Okay. How will you find K? Using magnitude condition. What is K? 1 divided by mod GSHS. At what value of S? At the dominant pole pair. Minus 5.4164 plus J 10.582. Okay. Or that will be what? That will be S plus 3. Magnitude of S plus 3 into S plus 6 into S plus 10 divided by S plus 8 at S equals minus 5.4164 plus J 10.582. Okay, so if you do that, you will get K as 121.7862. Okay, so this is for the uncompensated system. What do we do up to now? We found out a second order approximate equivalent to the given third order closed loop system. Right? Now, what else? What's the next part? It can operate with a peak time that is 2/3 that of the uncompensated system. So how can you find peak time? What is peak time TP? TP is given by pi by omega d. Peak time TP. TP is pi by omega d, or pi divided by omega n into root of 1 minus theta square. How will you find omega n into root of 1 minus theta square? That is the imaginary part of the pole, of the dominant pole. So pi divided by 10.582. Okay, if you substitute that, you will get 0.2968. Okay, so as per the question, what is the question? The system can operate with a peak time that is 2/3 that of uncompensated system. So what should be the new peak time? TP new 2/3 of this thing. TP new must be 2/3 of the uncompensated thing. 0.2968. How much is that? That will be 0.1979 seconds. Okay. 0.1979 seconds. So zeta is remaining the same. See here, what is given? At 20% overshoot. Overshoot doesn't change. Overshoot does not change means zeta is constant. Okay. So zeta is same at 0.4556. Okay. So this should be equal to what? Pi by omega in nu into root of 1 minus zeta square. Zeta value same 0.4556. So that means you can calculate what should be your new omega in value. Omega in nu value will be correspondingly you will get 17.8328 radians per second. Okay, so this is omega in nu. So what happens? So it means that in the S-plane, your real part has changed. Okay, that means dominant pole has changed. Okay, so where will be the new desired dominant poles? Therefore, desired dominant poles are at S equals minus theta omega in nu plus minus j omega in nu into root of 1 minus theta square. Omega in nu value we know, we have just now found out. Zeta value we know, 0.4556. Just substitute. So your desired dominant poles will be at minus 8.1246 plus minus j 15.8729. What were the original dominant poles? They were at minus 5.4164 plus minus j 10.582. So that means root locus has to be reshaped. Okay, this is the desired dominant pole, right? But right now root locus does not pass through this desired dominant pole. We have to force the root locus to pass through this desired dominant pole. How? By placing a PD compensator. Okay, so a PD compensator will add a 0 so that root locus is reshaped and passes through this particular desired dominant pole. Okay. Now let the PD compensator zero be at S equals say minus ZPD. Okay, to indicate that this corresponds to 0 of the PD compensator, right? Now you see now our desired dominant pole is minus 8.1246. So this is minus 8.1246 and this is J 15.8729. Where were the open loop poles? Our open loop poles were at minus 3, minus 6 and minus 10. And we have an open loop 0 at minus 8. Okay. Now what next? We have to calculate how much is the net angle at this particular desired dominant pole. Okay. Fine. Now we need to calculate what should be what is the net angle at the desired dominant pole. Right. So you join with all other poles and zeros with this particular dominant pole. 1, 4. Okay. Now we have to calculate what is theta 1, theta 2, theta 3, and theta 4. Okay, all values are known, right? So if you calculate, you will get theta 1 as minus 107.89 degree. Theta 2 will be minus 97.62. Theta 3 will be 90.44. Why 90.44 plus 90.44? Because it corresponds to angle due to a 0. Okay, and zeros will always give leading angles or positive angles. And finally, what is theta 4? Minus 83.26 degree. Okay, so what's the net angle at the desired dominant pole? Therefore, net angle at the desired dominant pole or at the desired dominant pole will be what? Theta 1 plus theta 2 plus theta 3 plus theta 4. Okay, how much it will be? It will be minus 198.33. Okay, minus 198.33. So it is evident it is not on root locus. It has to be made to lie on the root locus. So what's the condition for that? The net angle should be 180 degree. So how much is the angle deficiency here? Therefore, angle deficiency. Therefore, angle deficiency at the desired dominant pole. The desired dominant pole. So how much is the angle deficiency? How can you find that? 180 minus this thing. Okay, will be what? 180 minus 198.33. Or how much is that? That is minus 18.33. So how much is the angle deficiency? Plus 18.33. Why? Because that minus 18.33 has to be cancelled by the plus 18.33. Okay, so angle deficiency is plus 18.33 degree. Who will give that plus 18.33? The compensator 0 has to give. Okay, which has to be provided by ZC. What is ZC? The lead compensator pole 0. Okay. So again, if you draw this sigma j omega. Okay. So here is our dominant pole. What is the desired dominant value? Minus 8.1246. And this was J 15.8729. Okay. So we have to place our compensator 0. Where should I place the compensator 0? If I place somewhere here, what happens? The angle will be greater than 90. If I place here, angle will be exactly 90 degree. So for an angle less than 90 degree, I have to place my compensator 0 somewhere here. So this is ZC. Minus ZC, of course. So now you draw this. So this angle should be plus 18.33. Okay, plus 18.33. So now what's the relation? So tan 18.33 must be what? Opposite side, 15.8729 divided by adjacent side. Adjacent side means this difference, ZC minus 8.1246. Or if you solve this, what will you get? Your ZPD or the compensator PD compensator 0. You will get that as 56.0356. Okay. So what is your PD compensator transfer function? PD compensator will be S plus 56.0356. Okay. This will be the required PD compensator to get the desired transient response specifications. 20% overshoot and a peak time of 2/3 of the original value, original uncompensated system. Fine. Now, so when you put the PD compensator, what will be the transfer function now? How will be the system? It will be something like this. S plus 56.0356, and here we have our plant. A into S plus 8, I think, right? S plus 8 divided by S plus 3 into S plus 6 into S plus 10. Okay, so what's the unknown value here? The K. So again, we have to find K value. How? Using magnitude condition. K is nothing but 1 divided by mod GSHS at the desired pole. Desired dominant pole, what is the value? Minus 8.1246 minus 8.1246 plus J 15.8729. J 15.8729. So if you substitute that, you will get K as 5.329. 5.329. Okay. So let us verify verification. See, we should see that after designing compensator, our design specifications are met. So we are just trying to verify that. Okay. So what is the new peak time TP new for pi by omega d, or pi by omega n nu into root of 1 minus eta square. How much is that? Pi divided by 15.8729. So you will get that as 0.1979 seconds. Okay, so we start off from that point. What is that? 0.1979. Okay, we started off from this. This was the desired peak time, 2/3 of reduction. Okay. Now, if you want, you can also calculate what is the steady state error also. Okay. How will you calculate the steady state error? Limit s tends to 0, GSHS, right? So you can also find steady state error here, if you wish. Anyway, I will show you that also as well. So what is steady static position of the constant Kp1? Limit s tends to 0, GSHS. Okay, that means limit s tends to 0, K. What is the K value that we found for the dominant pole? 121.7862. That means 121.7862. This we are finding for the uncompensated given system. Okay, into what? Into s plus 8 divided by s plus 3 into s plus 6 into s plus 10. Okay, so if you substitute that, you should get Kp1 as 5.4127. So what will be the steady state error for the uncompensated plant? 1/1 plus Kp1. How much is that? That will be around 0.1559. Okay, so there is some finite steady state error. Okay, now coming down for PD compensator system. PD compensator system. Okay, what will be the static position error constant Kp2? Kp2 will be again limit s tends to 0, GSHS. Okay, that means limit s tends to 0. K value we know it is 5. K value is what? 5.329. Okay, so 5.329 into what? S plus 8 into what? S plus 56.036. Sorry, 56.0356. 0356 whole divided by s plus 3 into s plus 6 into s plus 10. Okay, all s will become 0, right? So if you do that, what will you get? Your error Kp2 will be 13.2717. This is just for the PD compensator system. Okay, for this thing, for the PD compensator system. For the PD compensated system. Okay, 13.2717. So what will be the corresponding error? ESS2 1 divided by 1 plus Kp2, or that will be 0.070. Okay, so we have met the transient response specifications. Okay, we have met the transient response specifications. Peak time, that is 2/3 that of uncommensated system at 20% overshoot. That part is done. Now what next? And with 0 steady state error for a step input. Okay, so we have seen that there is some error here, right? It is not at 0, right? What is our error? ESS2, it was 0.07. That should be made 0. How? By adding a PI compensator. Okay, so on top of this PD compensator system, now we have to add a PI compensator so that you get 0 steady state error for a step input. Okay, so on top of this PD compensator system, we have to incorporate now a PI compensator, right? Now, as I said before, PI compensator, right? So now a PI compensator is of the form S plus Z PI divided by S. Keep in mind, PI compensator means what? Kp plus Ki by S. Okay, if you take the LCM and solve, you will get Kps plus Ki whole divided by S. Okay, take Kp outside, you will get Kp into S plus Ki by Kp whole divided by S. So I can write this as K into S plus Z C divided by S. Okay, that's this form here. So K, I am taking it along with the plan now. Okay, why? Because anyway, compensator will be put in cascade with the given system. What's the figure? Like here. Okay, this is in cascade. So K being here or here doesn't make much difference. Okay, so I have clubbed the K of this compensator along with the planned gain K. Okay, so this K represents not only the planned gain K, but also the gain due to the compensator. That is understood. Okay. Now, a PI compensator of the form is to be designed on top of this PD compensated system. PD compensated system. Okay, so that now when you insert this thing, when you insert this PI compensator, transient part should be transient part we have modified. We have got now the desired part, transient part, right? That should be untouched. Okay, but only the steady state part has to be improved. Okay, so when you insert this PI compensator, transient part should remain intact, but we have to improve only the steady state error part. Okay, so that transient does not change. Transient does not change, but steady state error is improved. Steady state error SSE is improved. Okay, so transient does not change means what? Means this dominant pole should not change. Okay, this dominant pole should not change. If the dominant pole changes, what happens? The root locus will be again getting reshaped. That should not happen. Okay, we have already reshaped the root locus as per our given specifications. Okay, now the dominant pole should not change, but we have to insert a PI compensator. Okay, so now you see what will be the root locus. So where's the dominant pole? That should remain unchanged, sigma g omega. Okay, whereas the design dominant pole, it was minus 8.1246 minus this is J15.8729, and this was minus 8.1246. So minus 8. What is that? 1246. Okay, so this is the desired dominant pole, right? Now we will insert the compensator pole. You can see here the compensator, the PI compensator will insert a pole at the origin. Okay, so you are adding a pole to the origin. Compensator thing. Okay, or I will mark in a different color. Compensator pole. Right now, what happens? Angle at this point changes. Okay, so but angle should not change. Right, so that extra change in angle has to be taken care by whom? By the PI compensator 0. Okay, so now we will calculate how much is the angle at this designed dominant pole. Okay, so join this, calculate what is theta. Okay, so how much is theta? Theta, if you calculate, you will get theta as minus 117.105 degree. How? Because this is minus 90. So this value we know. Tan inverse 8.1246 divided by 15.8729. So totally you will get minus 117.105. Okay, so now what's the angle deficiency? Angle deficiency at the dominant pole. Angle deficiency, so already it is on the root locus, right? So this angle has to be cancelled. So how much is the angle deficiency? Angle deficiency is plus 117.105 degree. Okay, it's already on the root locus because we have designed a PD compensator so that root locus will pass through this particular desired dominant pole. Okay, so already angle is plus or minus 180 degree. That should not be changed. So that means this minus 117.105, which resulted out of this compensator pole at the origin, has to be cancelled by compensator 0. So angle efficiency at the dominant pole is plus 117.105. Okay, and this has to be provided by the compensator PI compensator 0. At ZC. Keep in mind, ZC is the absolute value. Okay, it should be, strictly speaking, it should be minus ZC. Okay, so now let us draw this figure once again. So that means sigma G omega, dominant pole is somewhere here. Okay, this is minus 8.1246, and this is J 15.8729. So how much is the angle to be provided? Plus 117.105. Okay, plus 117.105. So where should I keep my compensator 0? Somewhere here. Then only the net angle extended by the 0 will be greater than 90 degree. Okay, so this should be 117.105. This is ZC. Okay, so we know this much angle is 90 degree. Okay, so what will you get from this? Tan 27 equal to how much? 8.12. Opposite side. Opposite side is this horizontal difference. 8.1246 minus ZC divided by 15.8729, from which you will get your ZC as 0.0369. Okay, so what will be the compensator transformation now? The PI compensator transformation will be S plus 0.0369 whole divided by S. This will be the PI compensator. Okay. So what will be the PID compensator? So now you see, we initially added a PD. Now we are adding a PI. So we will get a PID compensator. Okay. So what will be the PI compensator system? PID compensator system. PID compensator system. What will be the forward path transfer function? You will get K into S plus A, that is the plant, divided by S plus 6 into, what was that? S plus 3, right? S plus 3 into S plus 6 into S plus 8. Okay, this was the given plan. Now then we decided PD compensator. What was that? S plus 56.036. Okay, then we inserted a PI compensator. What was that? S plus 0.0369 divided by S. Okay, so this will be the PID compensated open loop transfer function, G of S path. Okay, now what next? We have to calculate what is K. How will you find K? From the magnitude condition, 1 by mod GSHS at the dominant pole. Dominant pole is minus 8.1246 plus or minus J 15.8729. 15.8729. Okay, so that means modulus of S into S plus 3 into S plus 6 into S plus 8 divided by, oh sorry, this was S plus 10, I think, right? S plus 10, right? In the question it was S plus 3 into S plus 6 into S plus 10, correct? Okay, it was S plus 10, huh? S plus 10. So this is S plus 10. S plus 10, okay, whole divided by what? S plus 8 into, what next? S plus 56.036 into S plus 0.0369. Okay, at where? At which point? At the dominant pole. Minus 8.1246 plus minus J 15.8729. Or if you do this calculation, you will get your K value as 3.795. Okay. Now let us verify what is the steady state error, because our aim was to insert a PI compensator to make the steady state error 0. Okay. What is KP3 limit? S tends to 0. GSHS. Okay. So that means limit S tends to 0. This blah blah blah. Okay. So there's an S term here. Limit S tends to 0. What? K into blah 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 divided by S into blah blah blah. Okay, so since there's a S here, as S tends to 0, Kp3 becomes infinity. Or what will be the corresponding steady state error? Corresponding steady state error, ESS3 will be what? 1 divided by 1 plus Kp3, or 1 by 1 plus infinity, which means 0. Okay, so we have designed a PID compensator to meet the given performance specifications, both the transient specification as well as the steady state error specification. Okay. Now, as said before, PID is a bit expensive because we have to have active elements, op-amps, power circuits, etc. Okay, so that is expensive. But if you are in a position that you can tolerate a little bit of error, then we can have an approximation of what is called PID compensator. That is what is called a lag lead compensator. Okay, we will now take up design of a lag lead compensator. So this is a question. Design a compensator so that the system, which system? The closed loop system, the compensated closed loop system. That's the meaning. Okay, keep in mind our open loop plan is fixed. You cannot change that. Okay, only the closed loop thing can be changed. Okay, design a compensator so that the compensated closed loop system. That's the meaning. So that the system will operate with 20% overshoot and a twofold reduction in settling time. Further, the compensated system should exhibit a tenfold improvement in steady state error for a ramp input. So this is the figure configuration given to us. This is the plant. K divided by S into S plus 6 into S plus 10. Okay, K divided by S into S plus 6 into S plus 10. Okay, now here nothing is mentioned. Okay, they have not told that whether we have to design a PID or a lag lead compensator. But how can we design? How can we decide about that? Here, read the question carefully once again. Design a compensator so that system will operate with 20% overshoot and a twofold reduction settling time. Further, the compensated system should exhibit a tenfold improvement. We are not asked to drive the steady state error to 0. There should be an improvement. So that means it is understood it should be a lag lead compensator. Okay. Sometimes in the question it will be given specifically design a lag lead compensator. If not, we should understand whether we have to go for a PID or whether we have to go for a lag lead. Okay. Should exhibit a tenfold improvement in steady state error. So improvement means improvement can happen only in the case of a lag lead compensator. Okay, otherwise they would have told you should be driven to 0. Steady state error should be driven to 0. Okay, so long as that is not mentioned, it means that we have to go for a lag lead compensator. Okay, so again here how we will solve. We are given the damping, the overshoot. Okay, overshoot is given as 20%. Percentage overshoot is 20%. So that means e raised to minus pi zeta by root of 1 minus zeta square is 0.2, or your damping ratio zeta will be 0.4556. Okay, that is the damping ratio value. Okay, so the given configuration, the given plan is a third order closed loop system. We have to find the dominant pole pair. So we'll start with root locus. Sigma j omega. Where are the open loop poles? One at 0, one at minus 6, and one at minus 10. Okay, how will be the root locus? We know from here it will go to minus infinity. One will start from here, one will start from here. That's a breakaway point. and root locus will be moving like this. Okay. Now we have to find the dominant pole, for which we have found out what is the damping ratio. Okay. So how will you find the dominant pole? Minus theta omega n plus minus j omega n into root of 1 minus theta square. So it will become minus 0.4556 omega n plus minus j 0.89 omega n. Okay. So I know this is my dominant pole, one of the dominant poles. Okay. And this is minus 0.4556 omega n, and this is j 0.89 omega n. Okay. Now how can you find the omega n? Since this is a dominant closed to pole, the net angle has to be plus or minus 180. Okay. So you join with all other poles and zeros. This is theta 1, theta 2, theta 3. Okay. So what will be theta 1? What is theta 1? Theta 1 is angle from the pole. So minus tan inverse. What? Opposite side. Opposite side is theta 1. So theta 1 means this much angle. So minus 90. So this much is minus 90. So we can find that minus 90 minus tan inverse. Opposite side. Opposite side is this vertical difference. That means 0.455. 0.4556 omega n divided by adjacent side. Adjacent side is 0.89 omega n. So you will get theta 1 as minus 117.12. What will be theta 2? Minus tan inverse. Opposite side 0.89 omega n divided by 6 minus 0.4559 omega n. And what is theta 3? Minus tan inverse 0.89 omega n divided by 10 minus 0.4559 omega n. Okay. So as per the condition, angle condition, the net angle has to be equal to plus or minus 180 degree. Theta 1 plus theta 2 plus theta 3 must be equal to 180 degree. Okay. So if you substitute and solve, make use of tan A plus B thing, you will get your omega n as 3.9339 radians per second. Okay. So where are the original dominant pole pairs? Therefore, the dominant poles are at S equals minus theta omega n plus minus j omega n into root of 1 minus theta square. Omega n value we found 3.9339. Theta value we know 0.4556. Substitute that and you will get your dominant poles as at minus 1.7934 plus minus j 3.5012. Okay, these are the dominant poles. Okay, now we have to find out what's the corresponding k value. How? Using magnitude condition 1 by mod GSHS at the dominant pole minus 1.7934 plus j 3.5012. How much is that value? You will get that value as 192.0933. Okay, what's the question? Should expect tenfold improvement steady state error for a ramp input. For a ramp input. Okay, so we should know how much is the original error, right? So now we have to calculate what is velocity error constant, static velocity error constant. How will you find that? KV1 limit s tends to 0. Okay, static velocity error constant KV1 limit s tends to 0 s into GSHS. Okay, k value we had already found 192 point this thing. So if you substitute that, you will get as 3.2015. So what is static error? ESS1 will be 1 divided by KV1, and that will be 0.3123. Okay, that is the uncompensated error for the uncompensated system. Okay, static, that is a velocity error constant, steady state error for the uncompensated system, right? Now what next? we are asked to improve the transit specification. Which are the transit specification? Two-fold reduction settling time. Okay. So right now, what is settling time? Settling time, TS, will be what? 4 divided by theta omega n, or 4 divided by 1.7934. How much is settling time? 2.2304 seconds. Okay. Now that must be improved. By how? With a two-fold reduction settling time. So that means the new settling time should be, must be half of that value. Okay. So half of 2.2304. If you do that, you will get 1.1152. Okay. Now that means that should be nothing but 4 divided by zeta omega n nu. Okay. Because damping ratio is remaining same. That's not changing. Okay. The only changing parameter is the omega n value. Okay. Zeta is constant. We know it is 0.4556. Okay. So if you substitute that value from here, you will get omega nu as 7.8675 radians per second. Okay, omega nu will be 7.8675 radians per second. So where are the desired dominant poles? So dominant poles have changed their position, location. Okay, desired dominant poles. Desired dominant poles are at S equals minus theta omega n nu plus minus j omega n nu into root of 1 minus theta square. Omega nu we just now calculated, theta value we already know. If you substitute that, you will get minus 3.5867 plus minus j 7.0023. These are the desired dominant pole. That means root locus has to be reshaped so that it passes through this particular desired dominant pole. How can we reshape the root locus? By adding a lead compensator. That's the purpose of lead compensator, to reshape the root locus so that we get the required transient response specification. Okay. So now, as I said before, what will be our strategy? Our strategy will be such a way that the lead compensator 0 cancels one of the poles of the plant. Okay. Otherwise, what happens? The plant order gets increased. Okay. Already the plant is third order. Unless you cancel one of the plant pole, the order of the overall compensated plant will increase by one more. The total system order will become fourth order. Okay. So we will choose a strategy so that one of the lead compensator zeros, the lead compensator 0 will cancel one of the open loop plant pole. Okay. So let the lead compensator 0 be at S equals minus 6. Okay. So see, what is our plant? Our plant was K by S into S plus 6 into S plus 10. Okay. So we are trying to nullify this thing. Okay. You can take, of course, anything. Okay. So you will get a different configuration, different lead compensator configuration. Okay. It's your choice. Okay. Be it minus 6. So now what happens? Sigma j omega. Okay. So this is the desired dominant pole. So this is minus 3.5867 and this is J 7.0023. Okay. So where are the open loop poles? They were at 0, minus 6 and minus 10. Okay. So now I have placed my compensator 0 to be at S is equal to minus 6 so that the compensator 0 will cancel the plant pole at minus 6. Right. So now what happens? We have to calculate what's the net angle at this desired dominant pole. So you join with lines. So this is, say, theta 1, this is theta 2. Okay. We have to calculate what is the angle. So theta 1, how much? If you do the calculation, you will get theta 1 as 117.12 degree. Okay. Minus 90 minus tan inverse opposite side. Opposite side is 3.5867 divided by 7.0023. Similarly, what will be theta 2? It is an angle from pole. So minus tan inverse. Opposite side is 7.0023 divided by adjacent side. Adjacent side length is 10 minus 3.5867. 10 minus 3.5867. Okay. So you will get this angle as minus 47.51 degree. So what is the total angle? Total angle at the dominant pole. How much? Theta 1 plus theta 2, and that will be around minus 164.63. Okay, minus 164.63. So how much is the angle deficiency? Angle deficiency. Angle deficiency. How much? 180 minus 164.63. Okay, that will be 15.37 degree. So how much is the angle deficiency? That 15.37 has to be cancelled. By whom? By the compensator pole. Okay, so angle deficiency is minus 15.37 degree, which is to be provided by lead compensator pole. Lead compensator pole at S equals PC. Okay, the ZC we are already found. ZC is at minus 6. Okay, so this angle deficiency has to be provided by the compensator pole. Okay, now again we will draw this figure. Sigma j omega. Okay, this is the dominant pole. This is minus 3.5867, and this is J 7.0023. So 15.37 degree has to be provided. Okay, that means your compensator pole must be somewhere here. Okay, so that it extends an angle of minus 15.37 degree. Okay, so from here what will you get? Tan 15.37 equal to what? Opposite side 7.0023 divided by adjacent side. Adjacent side is PC minus 3.5867, from which you will get your compensator pole as at 29.0604. Okay, so what is the lead compensator transformation? G lead of S. What is that? S plus 6, the 0 divided by S plus 29.0604. Okay, so now we will consider the lead compensated open loop system. Okay, so this is our lead compensator. S plus 6 divided by S plus 29.0604, and here is our plant, K divided by, what is the plant? S into S plus 6 into S plus 10. Okay, plus minus. Right? Now we have to calculate what is the unknown value K. How will you find K? From the magnitude condition, 1 by mod GSHS at S is equal to minus 3.5867, the dominant pole, okay, plus J 7.0023. How much is that? If you do that value, you will get 1973.587. Okay, so that is the K value. Now let us calculate what is settling time. What is settling time? TS nu. Settling time is 4 divided by theta omega n, or 4 divided by 3.5867. How much is that? 1.1152 seconds. 1.1152 seconds. Okay. From which value did we start? From 1.1152 seconds. Okay, that is met. This is a design validation. Okay, validation. You can say we are checking whether we are meeting the desired specification. Okay. Now, what will be the steady state error KV2 for the lead compensator system? KV2 will be what? Limit S tends to 0, S into GSHS. Okay, so that means limit S tends to 0, S into K value is how much? 1973.587 into S plus 6 divided by what? S plus 29.0604 into S plus 6 S plus 6 into S plus 10. Okay, so if you do this, you will get your static velocity constant as 6.7913. And what will be the corresponding steady state error? 1 divided by kV2. How much will you get? You will get that as 0.1472. How much was the initial steady state error? It was 0.312. It has reduced. Okay, it has reduced. It has come down. Okay, but how much is our requirement? It should exhibit a 10-fold improvement in steady state error. Okay, it should exhibit a 10-fold improvement in steady state error for a ramp input. So right now, after designing the lag compensator, we have seen our steady state error has improved. Okay, so let us calculate how much is the improvement. Okay, improvement in steady state error. Improvement in steady state error by lead compensator. By lead compensator. How much is that? ESS1, the original error divided by ESS2. Okay, it will be 0.3123 divided by 0.1472. How much? 2.1216. But we are asked to improve 10-fold. Okay, so how much more do we need? Hence, lag compensator must improve steady state error by a factor of so you see, we have to improve the total steady state error by 10 times. Okay, with the lead compensator, the error has been improved by 2.1216 times. So when you insert a lag compensator, how much more do we need? How much more improvement do we need? 10 divided by 2.1216. Okay, understood? When we insert, the question was, there should be a 10-fold improvement in steady state error. Okay, so when you inserted a lead compensator, error was improved by what factor? By 2.1216 times. Okay, so an additional amount of error has to be improved. So how can you find that additional factor? So that means by a factor of 10 by 2.1216. That means it will be 4.7134. Okay, over the lead compensated system. Over the lead compensated system. Okay, so lead compensator, what's the transfer function? S plus ZC divided by S plus PC. Okay, S plus ZC divided by S plus PC, right? So that means the ratio of the compensator 0 to the ratio of compensator 0 to the lag compensator pole must be how much? Must be 4.7134. Did you understand what I said? The original question was to improve the steady state error by 10 times, by a 10-fold improvement. Okay, when you just inserted a lead compensator, the improvement was 2.12 times. Okay, so how much more do we need? 10 divided by 2.1216. By that factor, we have to have an additional improvement. Okay, so that means additionally there must be an improvement of 4.7134 times. So who has to give that? The lag compensator has to give. So that means the ratio of the lag compensator 0 to lag compensator pole must be 4.7134. Right? Now we can arbitrarily choose where the pole should be. So keep in mind, lag compensator is an approximation to a PI compensator. In the case of a PI compensator, we had a pole at the origin. So we choose a value as close as possible to the origin. Okay, so I will choose randomly, let PCB at S is equal to say 0.01. Okay, I have taken 0.01 randomly. If you want, you can take it to be 0.001. Accordingly, your zero position will change. Okay, so that is why design of a lead or a lag compensators, they are not unique. There are multiple solutions for the same given problem. Okay, they are not unique. So if I take PC, the compensator pole, to be at 0.01, then I will get my compensator 0 as at 0.0471. Okay, so what will be my transfer function now? S plus ZC by S plus PC. This is for a lag compensator. It will be S plus 0.0471 divided by S plus 0.01. Okay, so what will be the total system now? This is the plant. Okay, plus minus, right? So what will you get? You will get, what was the plant? Plant was K by S into S plus 6 into S plus 10. K by S into, so S plus 6 will get cancelled because of the lead compensator 0. Okay, or I will write that K by S plus 6 into S into S plus 6 into S plus 10. Okay, this is the given plan. Now to that we are cascading the lead compensator. What is the lead compensator? Lead compensator was, where is the lead compensator? S plus 6 divided by S plus 29.0604. S plus 6 divided by S plus 6 divided by S plus 29 point S plus 29.0604. Okay, and to that we are cascading again the PI compensator, and PI compensator transfer function is what? S plus 0.0471 divided by S plus 0.01. Okay, so we will, this lag lead compensator closed loop system should give the desired performance specifications. Okay, now what is the unknown here? K. So we have to calculate K value. How? From the magnitude condition, 1 by mod GSHS at S is equal to, what is the pole, the dominant pole? Minus 3.5867 plus J 7.0023. Okay, just do this calculation. You will get your K value as 1977.81. Okay, so let us see what is our aim. Our aim was to improve the steady state error by 10 times. Let us check whether we have attained that or not. So what will be the static velocity error constant KV3? Limit S tends to 0, S into GSHS. So substitute that and see what you are getting. So you will get K value we had found 1977.81 into what? These two will get cancelled into 0.0471 divided by 10 into 29.0604 into 0.01. Okay, how much is that? 32.0555. Okay, now how will you find the corresponding steady state error now? Steady state ESS3. What is ESS3? 1 divided by KV3. ESS3, the steady state error will be 1 upon KV3. And how much you will get? 0.0311. What was the original steady state error? ESS1. We had calculated that. That was 0.3123. So if you take this ratio, ESS1 by ESS3, how much will you get? 10 times. Okay, so that means we have met the desired specifications with the help of a lag lead compensator. Okay, so as I said before, lag lead compensator is an approximation to a PID compensator. Okay, so there are advantages and disadvantages. So you have to outweigh the advantages and disadvantages of both the configurations. Okay, so both will give the desired performance specifications. Okay, thank you. So we'll stop here.